Welcome to the In My Opinion Show. I'm your host, Ronald Barry Robinson. With us, we have a very stellar panel. We have Miss Sharon Cheatham.
Hello.
Next, we have Mr. Harold McIntyre.
Hey, Ryan.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion Show. Who in the hell left the gate open? American International Group, known as AIG, a multinational corporation, to get another $30 billion of taxpayer dollars. It has already received in excess of $150 billion. Enough is enough. I wouldn't give them another damn dime. In addition, I would shut them down along with the other 19 or so banks that have been bailed out. I would shut them all down for at least a week or so, just like FDR did back in the 30s. In addition, I would replace all the CEOs and presidents of these banks and replace them with federal regulators and examiners. I would take this even further and place all banks under FDIC control, so as to take the political and special interests out of the financial markets. It's become abundantly clear that the banks can't be trusted with Americans' money. According to the New York Post and trade magazines, AIG lost $62 billion in the last quarter, in the last 3 months. And for all of '08, AIG lost over $90 billion of taxpayer money, the largest failure in U.S. history. I say close them down and turn off the lights. Harold, what is your thoughts on this?
Well, certainly, Ron, I think that it would be good to close them down, but I tell you that it's going to hurt a lot of people. And I, for one, do not want all of the small people that's associated with AIG to be hurt. Now, when you talk about closing a company down that size, Ron, you're talking about billions of dollars, not only billions of dollars, you're talking about a lot of jobs. And to do that, the federal government have to take over. And when you're talking about the federal government taking over something of that size, it's going to be enormous. So I'm not totally in favor of closing it down, but certainly doing something to reorganize that organization, right, so that people would not lose their jobs. It's little people. Now, those corporate executives, absolutely. Shut them down, move them out, fire them, do whatever it needs to do to get them out of there and start restructuring that company.
Well, I think that sure, it's going to cost a lot of jobs, okay? But look at the jobs that have already been lost. Look at the retirement funds that have been squandered. Look at the nation as it is right now.
Yeah, but Ron,
right?
you don't want to exacerbate the situation. If you do that, then you're going to cause more people to lose their job. We're already in a recession. We're already losing thousands and thousands of jobs just from General Motors, the big three itself. So you don't want to exacerbate that. You want to try and level it out so that people can keep their jobs. At least the working class can keep their jobs and get rid of some of the bigger people on the top and get them out of there.
But how far do we go? I mean, we're talking about, we're talking maybe
More millions.
150 billion already we gave them. Now they want another 30 billion. Okay, in 3 months they'll probably come back and say that's not enough. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Well, you draw the line there. Absolutely. I'm not suggesting or implying that we give them more money, Ron. I'm not suggesting. I'm just saying that if we shut them down completely, look at all of the hundreds and thousands of people that's going to lose their job. We don't want to. I would not want to see us do that. I want to see us at least get those corporate people out of their positions and allow the companies to continue working, but continue working on a restructuring.
But those companies probably, if they were shut down, okay, and told to liquidate, other corporations would buy them. So I don't buy the idea that that I think it's all speculation that it would throw millions of more people out of work, because there's other responsible corporations out there, okay, that would absorb these whatever American International Group has.
I doubt that. I sincerely doubt that, because you can't have other companies absorbing that and absorbing their debt. Companies already have enough debt of their own.
That's true.
So they can't absorb another $1 trillion or $100,000 of debt, and along with the insurance and along with the employees. So I don't think you're looking at it that those companies going to absorb that debt. I just don't see them doing that. I see maybe they're hiring a few good employees, but certainly the company themselves will go under.
But isn't a lot of this debt just on paper? Okay.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's a lot of factual debt. You're talking about companies that have the insurance companies that have other underwriters under them, that's not paper. That's actual debt. These people actually owe that money to these companies. So if you close them down, they're not going to get anything from them.
Sharon, what is your thought?
I think the government needs to take a more active role besides just giving them money. I think that they need to have a little more structuring so far as how the books are being, assembled. Because I think that some money where is money going? Where is the money going? That they got to ask for more billions of dollars. Somewhere something is getting out of control. And I think that the government needs to come in. I mean, they're asking the government for money, so why can't they come in and see where the money is going? Because somewhere it's going. Besides, I think the CEOs getting their little share. And
Sharon, the biggest outlay of money of any corporation, any organization, is salaries and insurance. Salaries and insurance. Now, you say where that money is going. A lot of it's going to insurance. A lot of it's going to retirement. I'm quite sure AIG has been in business for eons, so they've got a lot of people that's on retire.
So can the government freeze these salaries? I mean,
yeah.
until they are until the companies get a little more solvent. I mean, nobody you get half your salary, and you get half of the benefits. Definitely no bonuses. And until things get better, I think that they shouldn't be. Shouldn't be paid a lot of money until things get better.
I don't think the government could do that without taking over the company.
Well,
They've
got
to take over the company first.
I think that's where the government's headed.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, they're asking for our money. They're asking for the government's money. So I think that they should take a more active role in where this money is going, because you can't just continue to give them more money and more money.
And see, the taxpayers shouldn't be obligated to bail these fools out either. Okay, these are for profit corporations.
Absolutely.
Right. That's
I agree.
true.
I
That's
agree.
true.
I agree.
That's true.
See, and those are hard-earned dollars that we have to kick out to these fools. All right, and I think that's totally unfair.
I don't think the government ever see that money again. I really don't think. I think that they might go bankrupt, and I think that they'll never see that money again. So far as repayment, I don't think we'll ever see that money again.
Well, I don't know. I think they will. It's just that they have to restructure. They have to restructure because that huge company has so many small companies under it that are actually feeding the middle class. And the middle class are the people that's actually working and keeping these people in business. So I think they'll continue to work. The middle class continue to work. People still going to Myers and still going to Kmart and still going to get gas or whatever they're doing, and they'll still have insurance. And that's what AIG is one huge conglomerate insurance company.
Yeah, but isn't this affecting the stock market?
Sure.
Anytime
Absolutely.
that a company as large as that is affecting the stock market.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime there's a sneeze, the stock market goes.
Right.
Goes to the bottom.
That's true.
And that it shouldn't be that way. I think the American public should make a decision. Let's stop this bullshit. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And not keep bailing out these people, because, hey, I can't imagine that these people are that far in the hole. I think there's a whole lot of padding going on.
I agree.
All right?
Just seems like in the last 4 or 5 months. When did this happen? Back in September, October, in the fall time, that they got that first bailout money, and it just seems like. Just all of a sudden happened, or was this just building up? It seems like the company should have kept better accounting of this. All of a sudden, when Bush's administration was coming to an end, then everything is coming to a head.
Well, he knew well, the Bush is another story.
But are you implying that just because Obama's in there now that everybody's wanting this handout?
I think that they know that they would get a better. They would get. I think that they know that this administration will work with them.
Work with them and give them a handout.
And talk. It's not necessarily a
handout.
But
I don't think it's a handout.
That's what they don't want you to call it a bailout anymore either. They want you to call it a restructuring package or a stimulus package.
Well, they aren't really restructuring.
Well,
I don't think they're
that's what
restructuring.
they're supposed to.
They aren't doing it. If
business as usual. If they're leaving the CEOs and all the other O's in place,
because
they're not doing anything.
That's true. Until they get new new blood in there,
Mm-hmm.
new administrators in there, then they're still continuing to do the same
Yeah,
thing.
right.
I would put all of their asses in jail. The
They do
presidents,
need
the
to go.
CEOs,
I think they need
until
to.
they can prove that there wasn't malfeasance and off. I mean, I guess that's a good word. They didn't cook the books. And another
yeah.
thing, since we're talking about huge sums of money, how in the world could this one guy Ponzi scheme $50 billion
Madoff?
and nobody
Nobody-
found out about it? And then here
Nobody was
last
at
here last week or so, another guy, $9 billion. I
right,
mean, what in
right.
the world is going on?
Oh, these schemes are going on, and it's just terrible. And how can people not keep up with that large amount of money? They just, give this money and let these men invest it and not keep track of it and see what's going on. I just don't understand. I don't understand it. I mean,
Well,
if I had-
somebody knew. There's no way
Well-
that type of money could change hands and or on paper without some government official or some high official in that corporation knowing about it. So they just padding the books, and they knew about it all the time, especially with Madoff.
The hen house door is wide open.
Oh yeah.
What I'm what I'm upset about is why isn't he in jail? Why
That's
isn't
right.
he in prison? Why is he, in his $7
He's being
million
protected,
penthouse?
obviously.
Oh yes, he
And
is.
it's
And then,
$10 million
Oh,
penthouse.
and then-
Wait a minute. Now wait a minute. How are you going to put somebody in jail because he has not been convicted of anything? He has not been convicted or indicted. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but he has not been convicted or indicted.
Well, I'd put his butt in jail on just based on preponderance. You know what I mean?
right.
Of
because he looks guilty?
No, because there's evidence that that was a Ponzi scheme. All these people, millionaires, gone broke.
Well, he
All
once
right.
said it was a Ponzi scheme, but again, then you have to, in this country, you have to be proven guilty.
right, you're right.
It's just, you just can't throw people in jail because they took something from you. You can't prove it. You got to prove it.
Well, it's a lot of people in
Even though
prison
we
right
know
now.
we
It's a
know
lot-
that he did it, but
It's a lot of people
nobody
that are in
indicted.
prison now that are innocent.
oh, absolutely,
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree with you
Exactly.
wholeheartedly on that one. Yeah, you're right. You got me on that one.
7.3 million Americans are under the jurisdiction of the criminal justice system as we speak. This came out in the New York Times the other day. What do you think about Harold? What do you think about nationalizing these corporations or these banks in particular?
Well, when you talk about nationalize, what are you talking about? The government taking
Yes.
over? I don't see that. I just
The
wouldn't.
private sector can't seem to
get it
seem to get it
I
together.
think that the private sector would work as long as we had government entities being able to regulate and tell them what they can and cannot do, and especially regulate their salaries. Certainly, that would be one thing that I think that we could do. But I don't think that the government or we are in the business of running corporations. We're not in the business to do that. We as a individual or a corporation, those individuals are going to all kinds of lengths to understand the operations of a corporate office. We are not in the corporate office business. The United States, as far as the government is concerned, and that's the people, are not in that business. We are in the business to try and make sure that everybody is living and be able to have a piece of that American dream. We're not in the business of running corporations.
Yeah, but I think we better get in the business of running these corporations because these corporations have literally destroyed millions
agree.
of lives.
That's true.
Okay.
And I agree. I feel like this. If when they run into trouble, why do they always run to the government? Why can't they run to private corporations and ask them to bail them out instead of the government? If you don't want the government to help you out or kind of regulate you a little bit, then I don't think you need to come to them and ask them for the money because it is the taxpayers' money. I think that we are the taxpayers. We got a little ownership in it.
But that's my point. If the only way that we could do that, we're talking about nationalize it, is that the government has to step in and regulate that company, that corporation, whatever it may be. Not take it over, but just have it regulated by the federal government in terms of what they can do, how they can do it, how much salaries they make, and that type of thing.
Well, that's kind of what Obama they put stipulations
Absolutely.
or strings attached to it. Any of this bailout money.
Yeah.
I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think it's like a stigma when they say nationalize. This is what Russ
Limbaugh?
is trying to.
Yeah.
He accuses Obama
Obama
of
wanting to
being,
nationalize things. Yeah. Well, I think certain things that the government can do, but certainly I don't think they should be the business of running companies. And again, I disagree with Ron when he talks about making sure that government run everything. It's just not possible that we can do that.
Can someone please tell me what's wrong with our elected officials in Washington, both Democrat and Republican? It's if they have lost touch with their constituents back home who are starving, losing homes by the millions, retirement dollars by the billions, jobs in their minds. I guess when you're making in excess of $150,000 of taxpayer money a year plus benefits, and the gates to the hen house have been left open for so long, you forget about the least of us. Since President Obama was elected President of the United States of America and begun to close those special interests and hen houses and proclaim no more free rides and all will be held accountable, the pimps in Washington politics, both Republican, Democrat, and liberals, are beginning to squirm. Unfortunately, for the last 8 years, it was not a problem. Spend with abandon like there was no tomorrow. But what's so troubling is we the people let them, the politicians, get away with it, listening to all the bullshit coming out of Washington. I think that we the people have put too much faith in our government. It's no longer government by the people. It has become, I'm going to get mine, you get yours. And am I right or wrong? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that they knew that Obama was coming. He was coming to clean house. He came with his big broom to clean house because a lot of legislation and a lot of things that should have been done in the Bush administration was not done. It was like everybody was getting their fair share, and a lot of, I hate to say, Republicans were getting a lot of things that they wanted done, and the people weren't getting a lot of things done. Why, when Obama comes to office, that we can create all these jobs? Why weren't all these jobs created when Bush was in office? I just can't. I just don't understand that.
The Bush government, I don't think, cared enough. And what's making me angry also too is, the man hasn't been in office 6-7 weeks yet.
Right.
All right. Now the Republicans are have already started blaming him for the situation the nation is in, and I think that's so unfair.
Well, they got to put the blame on someone, for the inequities.
What's your thoughts?
Well, Ron, he's got to accept the good with the bad. I mean, he is the chief executive officer of the free world now, so he's got to accept that. Whether it's his fault or not, he has to accept that. What I don't want people to do is, or wouldn't like to see people do. Well, let me change that. Right. I don't want people to do is blaming for what's happening in the past, which Bush's administration, the Reagan administration, and Clinton administration. Don't blame him for that. He has to accept all of the responsibilities that's happening in this country today because he is the commander-in-chief.
Right.
But certainly a lot of those things that have happened and that's what's happening now is definitely not his fault or his doing. But I think that when you talk about the individuals in Washington and what they've been doing all the time, they've been doing this for years.
Oh, sure.
They've been doing it for years.
Yes.
Even when one of the most highly acclaimed presidents of the free world was in there, and that was Clinton, of the Clinton administration. He knew that they were doing it, and they knew they were doing it. They were padding the books and getting everything that they could possibly, going out to Las Vegas and New York and having all kinds of extravagant parties. They've been doing it for years.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nothing different. It's just that now that somebody's in there that knows how to connect with the working class individuals,
working people.
know what to do, because we've as minorities, as black people, we've been there. We know what it is to be broke. We know what it is to be hungry. And now we have an individual in the White House who was our commander-in-chief who knows that too.
Right.
And he doesn't have to go in there with the idea or trying to say, well, okay, I'm the richest thing in the world. He's still not rich. He knows what has to be done, and he's going to do it. And just like you said earlier, they're squirming. They're trying to figure out what they're going to get before he cuts it out.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, this man. He's one parent family. All right. The experiences of Southside Chicago. If you've been to the South Side Chicago, him and his wife both. So those people in Washington can't put the shit on him. You know what I mean? Because
right.
he has been
Been
yeah.
that-
at
He's
ground
been-
level.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And excelled. To the first African American in Harvard Law Review as its president. All right, and his wife is very intelligent.
Right, right.
These people can't. They
Right.
don't like that.
And it's another good thing that
Very
he
educated.
he selected Biden because Biden has been in the same situation that he's been in.
Yes.
He's been poor. He's not rich. He's not a rich man. Biden's not a rich. He wasn't born into or married into a rich family.
Right.
You know, he neither one of them. So they know what it is to be poor and knows what it is to need things. And I think that both of them makes a good pair for this
Right.
country.
Right.
Exactly. We're going to change gears here. Should English be the official language of the United States in all businesses that do business with America? Should English be the official language taught in all American schools? What the hell is going on? I'm so sick and tired of the fact that you've got to press 1 for English or 2 for Spanish or some other language when you're conducting business. I've traveled to foreign countries around the world. If you can't speak that country's language, you're shit out of luck unless you have a translator. Why must America be the exception? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think because we're such a multicultural nation that, when we have to have the different languages, sure, English should be the number one language. And I think the people that come here to live and work need to learn English as the number one language.
And be
Sure.
proficient.
Right, right.
Because you can't even hear, you can't even understand some of these
right.
people.
And some
I
of
don't
them
have
just
a
don't.
thing against those folk because
Right.
they need jobs too. But
Right.
if you're going to conduct business for American corporations,
You should
all
know the
right,
language.
then you should be able to express
Right.
your thoughts in proper English.
Right. I think a lot of them just learn just the bare necessities to get to their jobs and learn how to manage in their jobs, but then they're still efficient in their own language. They won't learn any more than they have to.
But they're not learning very much. They're not learning very much. And I also fault American corporations, all right, for sending their business offshore and hiring those people that can't speak English.
Well, I agree too. I agree there too.
Or
That-
to South America.
Right. Well, I think that when we go over in their countries, I mean, we just barely, we just learn just enough to get by.
Let me say this. And this is certainly in all fairness to both, and certainly all due respect. That's not going to change until our government, the government of the United States, declare that the English language is the only language for this country. It has never been declared. Nobody wants to take that on and declare, including our chief executive officer right now, Obama. He has not taken that on and said that the English language is declared the language for the United States. That has never been done. And until that's done, then we're going to have all of these problems with, push 1 for English, push 1 for Japanese or whatever. Yeah, or you're going to have different labels coming out on American labels with all of the different types of languages. And I have, and don't get me wrong, I have no problem with other people coming into this country.
Right.
And certainly we have a multicultural country.
Yeah, we
but
do.
it's still, this is English. This is America, and America speaks English. Now, if you go over to Japan, you go over to Hungary, you go over to Switzerland, you're going to speak that language. You ain't going to go over there speaking all kinds of languages to get what you want. You're going to have to speak the language or find somebody that can speak that language for you so that you can get what you want. You ain't going to go over there, protesting that, I want you guys to speak English. Oh, you're going to get thrown out of that country. That's what's going to happen.
Into the In My Opinion message board. There was a blind girl who hated herself because she was blind. She hated everyone except her loving boyfriend. He was always there for her. She told her boyfriend, if I could only see the world, I will marry you. One day someone donated a pair of eyes to her. When the bandages came off, she was able to see everything, including her boyfriend. He asked her, now that you can see the world, will you marry me? The girl looked at her boyfriend and saw that he was blind. The sight of his closed eyelids shocked her. She hadn't expected that. The thought of looking at him the rest of her life led her to refuse to marry him. Her boyfriend left in tears and days later wrote a note to her saying, "Take good care of your eyes, my dear, for before they were yours, they were mine." This is how the human brain often works when our status changes. Only a very few remember what life was like before and who was always by their side in the most painful situations. Life is a gift. Today, before you say an unkind word, think of someone who can't speak. Before you complain about the taste of your food, think of someone who has nothing to eat. Before you complain about your husband or wife, think of someone who's crying out to God for a companion. Today, before you complain about life, think of someone who has passed away too soon. Before you complain about your children, think of someone who does not have and desires children. Before you argue about your dirty house someone didn't clean or sweep, think of the people who are living in the streets. Before whining about the distance you drive, think of someone who walks the same distance with their feet. And when you are tired and complain about your job, think of the unemployed, the disabled, and those who wish they had a job. But before you think of pointing the finger or condemning another, remember that not one of us is without sin. And when depressing thoughts seem to get you down, put a smile on your face and think. You're alive and still around. This is Ronald Berry Robinson for the In My Opinion show.